Bonjour, hi, welcome. This is the last class for the next few months. So I'm happy you are here. And we'll do as we do every week. We'll practice together and then we'll consider the Dhamma a little bit and see how it can be helpful for us. And so I'd like to invite you to bring awareness maybe to the experience of the body as we enter into meditation slowly. Welcome, everyone. And yeah, this invitation to maybe ground the attention in the body. The attention can be easily scattered in our lives, or maybe we don't know where it goes, in all kinds of habitual ways or obsessive or compulsive ways. And so we want to create a link maybe between the body and the mind through the attention to body. Or maybe if it feels threatening to you, like if you don't want to be in the body or you don't know how or this or that, you could just think of the physical realm, world. So being in contact with the material, physical realm. So it might be through seeing, just aware that we're here in this room, if you're like me inside. Just becoming aware of being here in this space. There's the room, maybe with the walls, but also the space here. And it could be an awareness also that is interested or is in relationship with sounds or silence or space in the room through hearing, yeah. And so in this room here, we could become aware also of the temperature. This room, maybe it's cool, cold, warm, or none of these. But it's like this right now here. And so aware of the material reality. And it could be, yeah, that you feel the body sitting or breathing. It's a different rapport to the body. It's not the body that we judge or have opinions about, or it's just a point of contact with life happening. So the body is resting where it rests. And you might be sitting, standing, or lying down. So there's the field of the body, or the field of the surroundings, the environment. The body as it feels inside, or the body touched by the air or ground. body in space. And maybe friendliness or tenderness for this body, alive here now, sensitive. You might become aware of the boniness of the body, all these bones stacked on top of each other, giving structure, form. Skeleton with living flesh, pulsating, tingling. Skeleton with flesh and skin, alive with senses. In this space. And inviting the attention to stay around in the field of hearing, or with the light touching the eyes or the eyelids. Staying here in this room in the way that we want. With the body breathing if we want. Discovering how it is to be earth. To be earth, sensitive earth. Sensitive to cold or warmth or movements, gravity. Sensitive little lump of earth. Sensitive animal body. Sensitive human body. Completely part of this world, this body. an expression of this life, this world, this body, this intelligence. The living world alive through this body, in this body, with the tingling, the pressure, the movements of the airflow. And the play of ease or discomfort or pleasure or displeasure, the fluctuations, the unpleasantness of being alive, the pleasantness of it, or the neutrality of it. Discovering how it is to be sensitive earth or conscious earth. Constantly touched in some ways by sounds or temperature or breath or moods and images. And as meditation progresses, maybe some qualities become more apparent, appear, maybe a little more calm or not, maybe friendliness, tenderness. They might be invited, might remember these possibilities, sometimes available, the possibility of kindness. I can marry, infuse the attention, the presence, care, quietness, can be invited in sometimes. Or even joy might appear. Sometimes it does. Slight joy, contentment, ease. Sometimes not. Some compassion might be available sometimes, or welcomed, so welcomed when things are difficult. Care. So the physical realm, but also the attitude, the way things are felt or encountered with care, with patience or courage. Not trying to solve or explain, but just learning how to be with, how to allow what is there to be there, comfortable or not trying to fix, but just to experience caringly, carefully, calmly. And the mind, sometimes in its habitual ways, because of compulsion or obsession, will abandon, discard, dismiss life for fabricated stories, fascinated by story told, by storytelling, happening, engrossed, encaged, under the spell of some story being told in the mind. And there might be the chance of a waking up. Oh, this is storytelling. There's a compelling story being told, and a waking up to materiality, to the experience of earth underneath the feet or bum, earth, breath. And that's what's going on. This is another view of the world, another way to hold the world, to understand, meet, experience the world. Earth, sitting on earth, air moving through, play of heat or coolness. An elemental view of what's going on, abandoning the storytelling view of the world, at least for a moment, becoming aware of the play of elements here, the dryness or wetness in the mouth or anywhere else in the body, the air circulating in and around the body, the liquids of the body, blood, saliva, the play of elements, water, fire, air, and earth. It's another view of what's happening, just the play of elements. Abandoning, at least for a moment, the view of me going there, having been there. Abandoning the storytelling and becoming just the elements at play for a few moments here. Leaving behind for a few moments the realms of storytelling, of preferences, of opinions, abandoning them to explore something else, just the physicality of this body, resting here, earth on earth. Learning to let go of the story of moi, me, I. Just for a moment, it's a play, we're playing here. Just to see if there isn't another way to live or perceive reality. So letting go of that view, storyline, timeline of je, moi, I. For a moment, just a lump of earth, sensitive resting on earth. Just a play of air, water, fire, and earth elements. Then with the bell, picking up the story, picking up the self, the me, moi, in the middle of everything, if we want or not. Okay, thank you. So that's partly what it is to, I mean, it can be so many things. Practicing meditation, so many things. But it certainly can be a play of perception. Instead of having a single view of what's happening, a single way to understand what is happening, maybe we can explore different views, different understanding, different ways to perceive what is happening. And maybe that could be helpful. It could bring some fluidity instead of being very, very tightly kind of stuck or clinging to one view of the world, you know? Maybe there's different ways to view the world. View what's happening, understand what's happening here. And yes, 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 this is me, Pascal, holding the stick and ringing the bell. It's me ringing the bell. It's me, moi, talking to you. But in the moments of silence, of meditation, maybe I can drop that a little bit. Or maybe that's what happens through meditation at some point. When we slow down our investment in the thinking processes, when we divest, you know, all the investments we have in every thought, as we do this in meditation, you know, start to pay attention to the physical realm. Let the ear hear, allow the body to breathe and breath to be experienced. Sounds, hearing, breath, felt. There's some construction next door. I don't know if you can hear it. I'm sorry about it. Yeah, allowing these to come to the foreground of our experience. Usually, often they're in the background. The fact that I'm breathing is way back in the background of my interest or values or awareness. Or the fact that hearing, you know, ears are sensitive here now. Or that, you know, there's an experience of gravity. They're so in the background, these aspects of our reality. And in the practice, they're brought to the forefront of the experience, no? They could be. That's one way to practice, to bring them to the forefront, give them attention, highlight them with our awareness. And in this way, maybe become sensitive or wake up to another view of what's going on. It was there all along, but it was hidden by our fascination and our way of clinging to the habitual ways of seeing reality. And by doing this simple thing of bringing forward the senses, the experiences of the senses, maybe there could be an opening here to the view, so we can view things a little differently, as suggested by the Buddha through the 4 elements, for example. That's a device, that's an invitation for us to pay attention to the play of the elements and slowly start to view reality through that lens. And so what's happening here? Just earth, resting on earth, just very sensitive earth, conscious of where earth, sitting on earth, ephemeral formation, like this you can see on the screen, this long, this body like this comes to be. Earth, takes the shape for a few moments. Sometimes it feels centered, sometimes it feels crooked, sometimes it's pleasurable to be in there. More often than not, it's a little uncomfortable to have bones and tendons and all these. And discovering that this is what's happening. Physicality is happening. Sensitive physicality. And in this practice of renunciation, we renounce, we abandon, at least momentarily, just as an exploration, we renounce the step further of making this me and about moi and projecting what will happen to me and what did happen to me. But easing off on this as an exploration, as an investigation, just to see if we could find something else, another way to live that would maybe, that we could choose to live by or through a little bit, so that we could find some release from obsession, from the single view that we're stuck in. It's not easy, I agree. I don't know if you even thought that, but if anyone would think, oh, that's not easy to do, to change perception, I would agree with this. Not easy, but possible. Possible. And actually, maybe if we look closely, we'll see that the views is often changing, fluctuating from one moment to the next, from one stimulation to the next. But here in meditation, we see if we can abandon that view about moi, me, and see if there can be just body sitting, breathing, biology, naturalness. And then we might be able to even question, or view differently the mind, the awareness itself that I took to be me, or define as me, or identify with as I. And maybe that's very subtle, but possible to recognize that there is sensitivity, it's happening. For the time of the meditation, and then the bell rings, we open the eyes, and this is moi again. But maybe we can find a little break here and there, and maybe later in the day, we'll be able to be just a body sitting, for a moment, breathing, drinking, and let go of this obsession of me and what's going to happen to me. That's something I certainly do appreciate a lot in this practice. because, you know, you're not stuck with Pascal 24/7. That's not something easy. But, you know, there's these respites. Is that the word? When suddenly there's just life happening. You know, personality is not at the foreground, or obsession with storyline, timeline is not at the forefront. It's good to know that we don't have to be so faithful to these, you know, that we can release them a little bit. We won't lose them, this capacity to view the world in a certain way, through the eye of I, happening to moi, about me, where I'm going. It's always a possibility to return to this. But it doesn't have to be exclusive. So releasing the tight grip of identification we have with, you know, things heard, felt in the body, felt in the heart, you know, seen through the eyes, I see, or, you know, seen inwardly, you know, oh yeah, things are seen inwardly, the sight, inward sight, it just happens, it's natural. Thoughts appear, images, you know, don't have to be so faithful to them. So the middle path here, not grasping at and not like pushing away either, just noticing how the arising of hearing, the arising of internally or externally, you know, sounds in the street being heard, or thoughts being heard inside. Yeah, hearing happens internally, externally. Sight happens internally, externally. Sometimes we see things, the seeing, it's just something that happens. Seeing happens. And seeing internally also, images, memories, projections. We don't have to be so, attached, clingy, identified, or fascinated by every thing seen internally or externally or heard. Just allow them to move through as, you know, shooting stars passing by, or clouds, very classic image here. Even the more difficult things, like the contractions of the heart or the body, in the chest area, you know, when it contracts. It's not easy to do, but possible to actually allow for the heart to be contracted, beating quickly, you know, the capacity that we have to allow for confusion to be there in a way, in a non-confused way, you know. Oh, there's one thing I'm sure of that is clear here. There's a lot of confusion when there is, you know. It was remarkable. Yesterday I was listening to a very good podcast. It was Lama Rudd Owens who was invited at its website 10% Happier with what's his name, Dan Harris. And Lama Rudd Owens was talking about his many things, you know, a lot of around white supremacy, white culture, and anti-blackness, and through with this, he was talking about, you know, wisdom and mindfulness, and engaging with these very poignant, uncomfortable topics and experiences. And he was describing his practice, and he was, and it sounded so true. I mean, yeah, he was describing factually the work that he did, and what expression was he using? He was saying like something like, "I worked my butt off to find some space in these emotions to, be okay being uncomfortable. And he was, very, very, almost, there was a transmission. He was saying, yes, I'm okay being uncomfortable, totally okay. He was using words like resourced. I feel very resourced being uncomfortable right now. As Dan Harris and him were having a conversation, from a white person with a black person, talking about the racism and anti-blackness, and he was saying, yeah, totally okay. I have a lot of space right now. I feel, maybe not always but he was saying, maybe not always the case, but right now he was saying, no, we can have this conversation. I don't feel exhausted. It's not like I'm triggered or I have a lot of space inside of me. And we could see, all the work that has been done before to actually allow for this ease, discomfort to be present, and, for courage to be there, and care, tenderness, to remain present and not fall apart, fall away when suddenly there's a fixation. Oh my God, I feel like shit. I don't want to feel like shit. No, there is discomfort. Yeah. And he was saying, I heard the message very loud and clear. I would say he was saying that for white folks, the capacity to allow discomfort is going to be, necessaire, like essential thing for us to dismantle racism and anti-blackness, the capacity to be uncomfortable, and so that's the practice here of not identifying, not making I, but allowing what is there to be there. And I think it's valid for any dominant group that you would belong to. If you're an able person, to talk about disability might require the capacity to be uncomfortable. For men, all men, to enter conversations about sexism and the violence of it and the rampantness of it will necessitate to actually be able to be uncomfortable and not be so identified with the discomfort, but allow discomfort to happen, not kind of zero in on it with defining oneself or owning or appropriating. Just allow it to be in the field, in the inner field. And so we practice this with maybe hearing, not clamping, grasping at hearing as I am hearing, with sight, with sensations. Releasing the I in the middle of it, that makes it so much more difficult to be with. Oh, dear Muriel, I see you're there. I'm wondering if you could share the link to, just if it's available to you. I don't know if you just have your phone in your hands or what, but if it's possible for you to find the link to the Lama Radowan 10% conversation. Really highly recommend it. I know you can find it yourself, if, whoever you are listening, if you're interested. And so it's very interesting to me, and maybe I'll stop just here. Very interesting to, more than interesting, useful, rich, helpful, very helpful to me, this what my teachers have taught me over the years of practicing this either investigating, being attentive, to notice that things are not so personal, or practicing releasing that view, and then the play of taking it back on, like, yeah, that's me, that's happening to me, but also not so much. It's really happening. That's the best I can do to talk about this today. So I'll suggest we finish together with some sitting and exploring this, maybe some more, just in silence. Your eyes, as you know, can be open or closed, whatever you see fit, and you can do something else altogether. If practice differently, if it doesn't resonate or feel triggering for you, take good care of yourself. And if you want, see if there's a way for you to release the selfing, the obsessive selfing around whatever is happening here now. Could be just the sounds that you're hearing. Can they be allowed to be heard? The sounds themselves don't belong to anybody, of course. Maybe that's easy to perceive it like this. But maybe the hearing also is just an event, as much as the sounds are. Hearing. And the breath might be perceived totally okay as my breath happening to me, or the body breathing. Just a little less identified. Oh yeah, the body's breathing. Breathing is known. Maybe there's some sensations in the feet. And yeah, it could be my sensation, sensations in my feet. But maybe it's possible also to just know that there are sensations there. Natural, they happen. And they're also naturally known. Not so much me, but maybe a function of mind to know, to feel. And moving slowly from the outside, hearing, toes, and coming closer to the epicenter of I, wherever that is for you. Maybe the I for you is a global I, or maybe it's the I is right at the heart area, or behind the eyes. See where you perceive I to be. Or is it a kind of a moving thing? It's in the feet, and next it's in the hearing. It could be good to become aware that it's a moving thing, this I. I hear my feet. I think. I breathe. From moment to moment, changing form or location. Sometimes there is discomfort. I think we might identify, grasp it more easily when there is discomfort in the movement of aversion, of not wanting to feel. There's often a very strong identification happening to me feeling it. And maybe there's a possibility to release if we're accompanied by some quietness or tenderness. Maybe it's possible to relax around something painful, to allow the discomfort to be there, the pinching or breaking or pressure to be there without grasping it as I or mine totally. It's true, there is ache here, if there is, ache is happening, not denying, but also not grasping. Sometimes there is ease. Sometimes there is ache in the body, in the heart. Learning to allow space around it to be known and felt, around the ache if it's there. Noticing maybe there might be some space around, even a little space. A space of awareness that contains, that can contain what is there. Hold or meet. Sometimes the space of awareness, the field of consciousness can become or be perceived as very wide, large, vast. So the hurt or discomfort is one element in there, in the field, definitely there, known. But so can be the space around it. The mind is vast. The field of awareness is vast. It can contain anything or nothing. It can contain beauty and the ache, the pain of the world. of our own story or present difficulties. And here also the joys. May we all find inner space and the capacity to be both with beauty and what is uncomfortable. Merci, thank you so much. Thank you, Muriel, for the link here. And as we open the eyes, if we open the eyes, maybe the self comes back more clearly or differently, or maybe not. And we pick up where we left and we proceed, we engage with the world of our activities and with the world in the shape it's in, and we see what we can do, what is possible to be done by human beings to make it easier for everyone to experience sensitivity. I wish you a really good summer. I was very happy to see many of you weekly. The YouTube channel stays open with the True North YouTube channel, so there's maybe more offerings. There is every week. So I really invite you to find support with all our wonderful teachers. And see you on the path. I hope in live one of these days. Okay? Much love. Bye. Now I don't remember how to stop this thing. Bye-bye.